Behind me in baby blue, we got the new Renault 4. And that is in many ways the car that the Renault 5 wasn't. My name is Peter, and in this video I'm going to show you what's new about this Renault 4 and how it compares to that Renault 5, because they're based on the same technical architecture. It's the Ampere small platform. So underneath this is the same car, same drivetrain, same battery, same power and same choices. So that is a good start. But as you can see, especially here from the side, it is a much different vehicle altogether. So where the Renault 5 was just under 4 meters, this Renault 4 is just over 4 meters. It's about 20 centimeters bigger. And that translates in a lot more space in the rear, obviously to transport people and things, and to a lot more space in the boot. And we'll go there right away. It's an electric boot, which is not revolutionary, but it is not something you see very often in this segment of cars. So we got about 100 liters extra boot capacity, which is great because the 5 had some boot capacity for 2 tennis bags and that was it. This is enough for your weekend away with the family. So that is very practical and very useful. You can also see that the load lip is extremely low, which is excellent to get things in and out, carry heavy items, but also just to sit there like today when you're on a beach and you want to go surfing. And I say that for a reason, because we had some display stands here on this press drive where Renault put some surfboards in the back, because when you put the rear seats down, there is actually quite a lot of space inside, as we'll see in a bit. But these are real solutions to real life problems that Renault thought about, so that is excellent. Now obviously there is a lot of retro inspiration from the original Renault 4, so you got the lights, there's all kinds of lines in the roof, the iconic extra window in the back, and there's things like the roof line continuing down here into the wheel arch. So that's all very historically correct. But the main one obviously is here, the front, with this single piece grille here, which is apparently something unique. And that's obviously very recognizable when you put it next to an old Renault 4. So it's a cool car. It looks nice, it's big and spacious inside, and it has the same fun driving capabilities as that Renault 5 drivetrain had. So all around it is a very strong package. And as we'll see later when we start driving, it is actually quite fun to drive. So it is a very compelling proposition from Renault here. And especially in this blue, there's a few different versions and a few sort of stylish versions with panoramic roofs and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's a good looking car. Obviously, the big one is here in the back seats. And this is miles better than the Renault 5. In that car, I was basically unable to sit behind myself, but that extra 20 centimeters really comes to life back here. So with 1.83 meters and about 90 kilos, I can comfortably sit behind myself. There's plenty of headroom too, although plenty, I say 3 fingers. And it's a good place to be. It's spacious and roomy without getting cramped, so that is excellent. There's not that much luxury back here, but you got some basic things like seat pockets and a phone pocket. I got 2 USB-Cs here, but for example, no ventilation control, no armrest or any of that kind of stuff, which is fair for the segment of car that this is in. And all around it's pretty complete back here. So I got my own window switches, I got decent door bins, and all around it's an okay place to be. The windows are big enough that it doesn't get too claustrophobic here, but we have a gray roof, so that sort of eats into the comfort back here. I do have a decent connection to the front of the car, because the car is not physically that large anyway. So that's also good, but I think with this denim interior it's fine. If you go for the dark interior with the dark roof, it can get a little cramped back here in terms of how you feel. All around though, it's a nice place to be. The floor is completely flat, so that's excellent, but there's not so much room under the seat for my feet to go to, but not to the point that it gets uncomfortable. If I move to the middle, well, obviously I sit a bit harder and higher, and I'm basically touching the roof now with my head. But it's fine for a short drive, but mainly for moving kids around, this is excellent. Obviously, we got to look at the interior of this Renault 4, and this is going to be a short overview because it's exactly the same as the Renault 5. So we have exactly the same hardware all around, which is a good thing. There's a lot of nice stuff from Renault that just works really well. The main thing is the software with the Google integration that works really nice, and the row of buttons here for the Klima unit, where you have physical controls to control the temperature and the fan speed and so on. So that's excellent. The other thing that's really excellent is the My Personal Profile button here on the left of the steering wheel, where with 2 clicks you can have your ADAS settings just the way you want them. So in my case, no lane keeping and no speed warning signs. And you don't have to fiddle in the menu. You set that up once and save it as your personal profile. And then with this button, you can activate that profile as you start driving, and all is well. So that's great. A few things that are not so great are the extensive use of piano black around the vents, on the dash, on the steering wheel, on the stalks. That's just not nice. So I hope they take that away in the next generation. But it is here. Other than that, you know, the steering wheel is nice. The seating position is all good. So all is well, and it's all exactly the same as the Renault 5 because they share the technical platform. The only real thing that's different are the flippers behind the steering wheel, which is for the regen braking. The Renault 5 doesn't have that at all. You can adjust as you go along, so you can go from completely off to full one-pedal driving. And it's true one-pedal driving, where you come to a full stop if you have that activated. You even get a warning on the dash that you have now activated the one-pedal driving. So that's excellent, and it really works well. And it's also nice that you can adjust it on the fly. For example, on the highway, I like to have it completely off because I like to roll when I let go of the gas. But in the city, it is also nice if you like to do full one-pedal driving and only have to use your right foot. So that's excellent. It's nice that it's integrated here. It is the hardware obviously is the pedals, but it is not a mechanical switch or anything. So it's all software. So technically they can bring it to the Renault 5 in the menu somewhere where you can turn it on and off with a software button. But that's not the plan for now. And they say that over time they'll bring it to all their electric models. So that's the only physical hardware update in terms of the cockpit. There is also a few new materials, like this one we have here today is with a denim interior, which is not personally my preference, but if you like that kind of stuff, it's kind of cool. And it's the sort of same retro-inspired vibe with the roof, with the squares and everything, as the Renault 5 has. And depending on the version of this 4 that you pick, you can get different kind of interior materials. So all around, it is all pretty nice in here, actually. All the good stuff from Renault is here, and I think it's a nice addition to have this option for the regen braking here. Obviously, we got to do a little bit of driving in this new Renault 4. And the driving is very familiar because obviously this is the same drivetrain as in the Renault 5. So it's a modest amount of horsepower and it's a modest amount of performance, but I think it is actually, oh, we got a speed bump here. It is actually well judged by Renault because the context in which you're going to use this car does not require a lot of outright performance. This is a car you're going to drive in and around town. You're going to use this to take your kids to school. You're going to use this to visit your grandma, and in reasonable style and comfort. But this is not by any means some kind of street racer or traffic light monster. That said, the amount of power that is available is very pleasant in and around town because that electric power with the instant torque and the instant acceleration is excellent for town driving. So you have enough performance at the traffic light. I wouldn't say to embarrass anybody, but it's enough go to easily cross some intersections, take some roundabouts, and do everything comfortably without it going crazy. And that's good because as soon as you start adding horsepower to a car, you need bigger brakes, you need a bigger motor that requires more electricity, so you have less range. You need more cooling, so all those things add up to more weight, more cost, and more complexity. And it's not necessary for the desired context of this car to have that kind of complexity. So I think that's well judged by Renault. Now currently we are on the mountain roads around Lisbon, which is of course quite a challenging environment for a car like this. But I have to say that the car is handling it very well. Now by no means it is some kind of corner monster or circuit attack car or anything in that direction. But it's more than capable of handling this kind of driving, which is quite nice because obviously where I live in the Netherlands we have flat roads and straight tarmac mostly. So it's quite nice to test a car in this environment to see what a car is made of. Because most cars, as soon as you start to push a little bit, you run into the limitations of pretty much anything from tires to chassis to brakes to performance right away. This car is no different as far as that goes, but it's nice to try that out on roads like this. So these little squirts of acceleration and these little sort of flowing corners, it's really nice to feel what the car is doing underneath you. So it's quite a square stance obviously for this car, not as square as the Renault 5 brother, but still quite square, which of course improves the handling quite a bit. And it can actually take roads like this with relative ease as long as you keep things somewhat under control. Now granted, you're never going to attack roads like this in a car like this because you have your kids and your wife in the back and nobody's going to be happy with this kind of driving. But here by myself with the camera woman that is still smiling, it's actually quite nice to feel that the car is, you know, capable of some cornering and it doesn't sort of snap understeer right away and then, you know, everything is over from that point. So it's nice that there's a little bit of playfulness and performance in the chassis and in the drivetrain, allowing you to have a modest amount of fun. Because in all fairness, this is not a car, as soon as you start pushing it beyond, let's say 7/10, it's not a car that's going to be very happy in this kind of context. But it is, you know, more than fine and more than capable for a little bit of cornering. So that is nice. But that said, it is actually quite a nice place to be. I have a good view out. I can see the corners of the car really well, which of course will aid a lot in city driving and tight spaces. The view around the car is great too. The car ends at the rear window and the view out is very pleasant. The view backwards out is very pleasant. So all around it's a good place to be, and it's a good sort of cockpit feel that you get as the driver, where you are, you know, you really feel that you're in control of your vehicle. So that is excellent. Well done by Renault. It's a bit windy here, so I'm holding the microphone, but after 2 days of driving this Renault 4, I have to say that Renault nails it on all the fundamentals. The technical platform is solid, as we already know from the Renault 5, but with all the added practicality of a bigger boot, bigger space, more room in the back, and overall a more practical package. Add to that the styling is retro and cool, but still a lot more accessible than the extremer styling of the Renault 5. I think that Renault nails it and hits all the fundamentals just right. It's not perfect. There's still some things in the interior that are slightly questionable. The use of materials you can always debate about, and that whole lifestyle that is around this car with all the different personalization and customization things has to be your kind of thing. But if it is, then I think it's a very compelling package at a very attractive price point that is a lifestyle element on one hand, but still a cool, functional and practical car on the other hand. And I think that balance is very well judged. That's all I got for you in this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it. And a sub to the channel is always appreciated, of course. Cheers!